Okay, need to practice tourniquet application. Need to make it realistic and worst case scenario as possible. Need to do support side application. Ah! Get mosey.
Yeah, where's the ketchup?
Well, hey everyone, and welcome back to Stop the Bleed Month here on Tactical Review. Now, a couple weeks ago, I gave my well wishes to Scott over at Kentucky Ballistics. I'm thankful to say that it appears through Instagram and YouTube that he is healing well. And I also mentioned that this year, North American Rescue had partially sponsored the Stop the Bleed Month giveaway. Now, as long as I get this uploaded when I intend to, you've still got a day or so to get signed up for that giveaway, and that is over at stopthebleed.tacreview.com. North American Rescue has sponsored us with 2 Cat Gen 7 tourniquets, and then I've thrown in an ankle trauma kit from North American Rescue. Anyway, make sure you get registered for that, and that way you have some of the tools on hand that you might need if you're ever in a trauma and an arterial bleed situation. But that's not entirely what I want to talk about today. Here a few months back, I purchased this item, as you can see, from Amazon. And I never got around to telling you guys what was in the package. And this seems like a good time to do it. So in here, what I have purchased is a Recon Medical tourniquet. Now, I'm going to go ahead and just say right now that when you're looking for a tourniquet to carry on your range gear or in your EDC or in the first aid kits in your vehicle, I'm going to recommend that you stick with a COTC certified tourniquet. This isn't an all-inclusive list, but that does include tourniquets such as the Cat Gen 7 and the Soft T Wide, and there's several others. I've got the link down in the description. You can check that out. One that you are not going to find on there is the Recon Medical. And I'm not going to give conjecture as to why that is or is not. I'm not going to say that this is not an effective life-saving device. I'm just going to say that I'm going to defer to the experts who see life-saving devices used in combat and trauma situations all the time, and I'm going to stick to their selection. All right, that's disclaimer out of the way. If you're looking for the tourniquet for your EDC, I recommend this and not this. And again, that's nothing against Recon Medical. We're going to go into this, and obviously I bought one of these, and I'm going to explain why. As with anything, you do not rise to the level of your expectations. You will fall to the level of your training. And that includes trauma scenarios. So I firmly believe that just like we go to the range and we practice our fundamentals and we practice our accuracy, and just like we should be doing dry fire and draw and presentation training, we should be doing life-saving training. That's why you don't just watch the videos to get CPR certified. You actually have to show that you have retained some material before you're given your card. And that's what I got this for. Now, in a normal time, a cat tourniquet goes for about $30. And $30 is by no means too much to pay to save somebody's life. But my understanding is that your first aid tourniquets should not be used for practice. It makes a lot of sense. I don't know exactly how much force is required to clamp off an arterial bleed, but it's not insignificant. And so every time, just like a spring, just like anything, every time you would put that force into your tourniquet, you're weakening the overall system. And so I found on Amazon Recon medical tourniquets, and we're going to get into this, and we'll actually compare this side by side with a Cat Gen 7, and I will make some very unprofessional, okay, I'm not an EMT, I'm not a medic, but I'm going to make some very layman comparisons, and we're going to talk through this. So let's get into here. All right, one of the first things I noticed, I'm going to pull my Cat tourniquet out of my range belt here, and you can see when you compare the Cat tourniquet that's still in the cellophane that I'm going to give to one of you lucky folks, that it is exactly how it came out. So when you buy a new Cat tourniquet, they are staged and ready to go. You pull it out, you put it on the limb, and you would yank that and pull it down tight. Let's see. Aha. The Recon Medic does not come pre-staged. Now, is that a huge deal? Not if you know that you need to stage it. But if somebody's bleeding out, that's not the time to get it out and go, what do I do with this? Operating under the assumption that the Cat tourniquet is staged the way you would want a tourniquet staged, and given the fact that this comes out of the package now, the way that North American Rescue recommends you stage them, I'm going to say it is. I'm going to use this as the example for staging this Recon Medical. So we're going to put the windlass cover out here, run that through to there. All right, now with them side by side, you can see that there are a lot of similarities. I'm no legal expert, but that might have something to do. Nope. Editor, take that out. One thing I like about, or a couple of things I really like, again, as a layman, about the Recon Medical. Number one, and this is one thing that they really make big on their Amazon ad, is they have this loop here. The concept being that when your hands are slick with blood, as they likely will be if a tourniquet is required, instead of just having to grab a hold of the strap, you can put your finger through and get better tension on the strapping before starting with the windlass. Secondly, the windlass is made out of aluminum instead of plastic. And put some tension on here. Doesn't feel like it's going to bend or break. An update that they have made since I purchased mine is that the new ones now have a pin stuck in the end of the windlass so that you can mark the time when the tourniquet was applied. A downside to this aluminum windlass is that metal gets slickery. Again, we're talking about a situation where you will probably be covered in blood. And this is a very small diameter tube. So they have added knurling here, some texturing, so that you can get some traction on this guy. But in the Amazon reviews, people who have had to apply these have said that the larger diameter windlass off of the Cat tourniquet is advantageous. Buckles look similar. I mean, There's nothing right off that screams out to me, I can't trust this. But for something that when you need it, it's life or death, it's the same reason that I carry a Glock and not a insert brand here. It's the reason that I recommend certain firearms and certain items for your EDC and your life-saving, and I recommend other ones as practice or as, you know, safe queens, things like that. Now then, for holster compatibility, let's see if I can put this into the cat tourniquet holster. It does appear that if you were to disregard my advice and use the Recon Medical tourniquet as an EDC, that you can in fact use cat tourniquet holsters for it. So there's the ins and outs. Now, the part that I've been dreading, but I feel like is very important to show you guys. So, practicing with a tourniquet. And this is the reason I've purchased this, so I should probably do this. I'm right-handed, and so the most disadvantageous place that I might need to apply a tourniquet would probably be my dominant arm. Alright, so I've got to assume that my dominant arm is incapacitated. So I would have to pull the tourniquet, which will either be kind of appendix side if it's on my range belt, or I'm wearing my North American Rescue ankle trauma kit. Anyway, but you're gonna have to get that out. We would slide it through, and that's why you stage it that way. Slide it through, pull that, tighten that down as much as possible, which is going to pull any extra skin that the person might have into it. Okay, so that's about as snug as I can get that. And then we take the windlass and we start applying pressure. And that's not the most pleasant of... Alright. That's definitely pinching. Oh, that's not nice. So you put that there, and then, well, I'm gonna be honest. I can't tell if I have the pulse turned off. I can tell you this is very unpleasant, and I can feel the pulse up at the tourniquet, but I'm not finding it at my wrist. I'm not always the best at finding my pulse at my wrist, however. The latch mechanism has deformed a bit, and that's one of those locations it's going to take a lot of stress in this situation. Obviously, in a real arterial bleed, oh, that feels funny. In a real arterial bleed scenario, you would have the visual assistance of the spurting arterial blood to help you ascertain that you have or have not stopped the flow of blood. Yeah. Now, on the thigh, again, you will put this around your thigh. I'm not in a very advantageous position to show this. With an injury in an extremity, you ideally want to place the tourniquet 2 to 4 inches upstream from the injury and not over a joint. And barring that, high up on the limb so that you are cutting circulation to the whole limb. So in the thigh, you'd want to be a couple inches down from the groin region. Without an ultrasound, the easiest way to get an idea whether or not you have clamped off the arterial blood flow would be to take the pulse down behind the ankle bone, on the inside of the ankle towards the Achilles tendon. If you press in really hard there behind that bone, you can feel a pulse. It's not super easy to find, but I was more successful at finding my pulse there than in my wrist. Oh hey, there's my pulse. Yeah, I successfully shut it off. I'm going to have pretty awesome bruising tomorrow. I'll make sure to get a picture of that up on the Instagrams. With a leg injury, if you guys will remember back to my video about this first aid kit that's on my range belt, Maddox and I were talking, and he mentioned that especially with leg bleeds, it's not uncommon to need 2 tourniquets to get enough compression to staunch the blood flow. And in that case, you put one on and then you put the other one right next to it. All right, I hope that I gave you guys some information to work with when it comes to tourniquets. I mentioned that I picked this Recon Medical tourniquet up on Amazon, but right now it's May. May is Stop the Bleed month. So if you head over to North American Rescue, that's narescue.com, use the promo code that's right there, and you're going to take 25% off of select community preparedness items, including cat tourniquets. Using that promo code, this tourniquet is just a few dollars more than this tourniquet. So when you're picking up your EDC tourniquet, go ahead and pick up a blue practice tourniquet from North American Rescue. And then you have one that you can put all that clamping force onto, and you're not going to need to worry about whether or not you are deteriorating your life-saving equipment. I appreciate you guys watching. If you've watched this after the giveaway ended, very sorry. I've made it tradition that every May I do give away some life-saving equipment in honor of Stop the Bleed month. So definitely stick around. One of the best ways to do that, go ahead and give this video a thumbs up and then subscribe to the channel and ring that notification bell. You'll see when I upload new content all through the year, and then you'll be ready for next year's Stop the Bleed month giveaway. Also helps out the channel a whole bunch when you guys do that. Speaking of helping out the channel, you guys can also head over to store.tacreview.com. Get yourself stickers, shirts, and whatever other merchandise we've come up with along the way. You never know what crazy stuff you might find in there. Hoping for coffee cups. Just looking for a good supplier. Speaking of coffee, why don't you head to coffee.tacreview.com. That's our affiliate link, takes you over to Defender Coffee, where every order supports the Second Amendment advocacy group of your choosing. And then using that affiliate link, you'll also help support the channel. And if you really want to support the channel directly, you can do that either through Patreon or Subscribestar. I can't express enough appreciation for our paid supporters, and this just isn't possible without you guys helping out. But let's be honest, it's not all about what you guys can do for me. I appreciate it all, but I like communicating with you guys too. The best way to do that is to head over and connect with the channel on social media. That username is Tactical Review 2019. There's links in the description, and you can see the platforms we're on screen right now. I appreciate you guys watching. Really hope you got something useful from this. And until next time, shoot straight, stay safe.